Welcome to Kaiser Neuromap Institute Summer Academy 2020. Today we're going to be talking about traits such as peak frequency and unity and how we measure them with the brain maps. So we call this unity years, how the years and the heartbeat relate in terms of our brain rhythms. We're going to be presenting what I call the tree ring model. So the idea is we get faster in childhood, approximately about 1 hertz, 1 cycle for every heartbeat. We get faster each year. So our average energies are 2 hertz at 2 years of life. We have faster peaks, but an average on 2, then it goes to 3 and 4 and so forth. This is the relaxed condition, like eyes closed, relaxed condition. So I'm going to be presenting that model. But okay, so we're going to be recording from 19 sites on the head. And we're going to start off with the referential montage, which is great for detecting artifact. We don't want to have, it has to be all cerebral energy in the EEG signal. We want to remove eye blinks, muscle tension, any kind of artifact. And the best way to deal with it, so you can easily see it in referential. That's what's great about referential. You can see the artifacts easily. But you have to do a little bit more with the math. You have to do some subtraction. That's all. You're going to subtract nearby signals in certain ways based on how the brain's inside of a sphere and how the signals of these sources can intermix. And that way you'll have a better measure of what's really at the surface, what's different from all the neighbors. And then you triangulate down to common sources, the sources that are going to be uniform in their firing activity. All right, so the first thing we do is some subtraction from the referential, and we can get to Laplacian. You see some different things going on there, temporal lobe, more alpha peaks there. Okay, and then you go to the Brodmann montage, and this is a way of looking at the brain, the sources, and we're looking at the regional view. And this is just like basic algebra. You triangulate down to this center of these areas in the ideal headspace, and the signals are as strong as they have surface area, the proportional of that, and propagates up to the cortex, and those are the sources, and we see if those show different patterns, and we analyze those. Okay, so we take a EEG signal, and we do a Fourier analysis, and we get the components, and then we look at it. This is an activity measure, and we're going to also look at connectivity, which is how shared the components are. And we know certain things about maturity in terms of during the eyes closed resting condition. You don't usually want harmonics, but sometimes you do. Excess theta is usually sign of maturity. We all start off with pink noise, but we want to get to this alpha peak. All right, so the EEG is very sensitive to all different changes going on in brain activity, and that sensitivity is great for detecting state changes, like attention changes. So there's a lot of EEG information about the current moments, but we want to know about the habits, the traits, what's always, the undercurrents that are always there. And so we look at 2 parameters. One's activity and one's connectivity. And that's been winnowed down from 30, and they're very useful. So, okay, the one thing about neuromarkers that we see, we have 3 forms, I guess, is that you will have a marker for a dysrhythmia for the PCC, and that means there's a loss of self-nurturing. And so that could make someone vulnerable to PTSD or other kinds of trauma. But it's more, we don't know how it's manifesting the behavior based on that. Okay, you're relational there. How you're processing is the subcortex is dominating your thoughts there. And so realize when you have a neuromarker, it's not saying you definitively have that issue, but it's vulnerable to change. And you can see, we talk about mothering and dad and a lot of our heads and other relevant facts. So that's like your mother area, mother hub, the posterior cingulate cortex, and especially the left side. And when you lose that, you lose your sense of self-nurturing and nurturing outwards as well. Okay, so we're going to be talking about, as we always are, about this 2-story living idea. We start off in the basement floor, in the reptile part of our brain, and we advanced to use neocortex, which is 10 times bigger, has more cells, more higher representation. And so when we're in the basement, we're relating to everything in a way. We're egocentric. And I have this figure here, this basic model. Everything has to be about us. We're the center of the cosmos. That means we don't know how to really take, leverage our environment. We don't know what's going on in some respects. We're using resources weirdly not helpful because we have to go from relational thinking to this autonomous, independent thinking where things are apart from us. And we got to find a balance point. We don't want to be all the way over here, but we want to be balanced. And again, use the neocortex and that maturational gradient. We go from relational to object thinking, and you see this much better and much more. The things we recognize the independence of other elements. Okay, and we have two basic parameters which can tell us is the person relational, which is the yellows in this connectivity map, or too much object thinking, or they found that balance point. There's the balance point. And in activity, this is the sensory system. And we can see how much they're letting the bottom-up thinking, letting the sensory information in to see what's going on, or the top-down thinking, which is expectation, primitive thinking. Okay, so one of the first things you can look at in EEG is this spectral plots, because they're reliable traits. This is an entropy plot, which is similar to relative magnitude. And this is actually, I think this is me from like age 28. Yeah, but this is showing the bell-shaped curve. I have some low frequency. You want to have all alpha activity. You want to have all bell-shaped curves. Don't have much of a harmonic here. So the other was being just represented there in my right temporal, a little bit right auditory and left. So, but all right, so that's, but you see also that a little bit of theta up here. And here is the single hertz for the 19 regions, around 10 there. Let's see. All right, what does it mean to have a sample rate around 10? Well, 10 is the speed where it's the average for adults, and that means it's going to be usually most efficient. It's the reason why we have 24 frame and nearly 30 frame movies and television is because we sample the world around, most of us are around 10. We start off slower and we increase in speed with age, and we get there around 10. By 10, you should be around 10 hertz. And then sometimes you go fast that for a while. The adolescents you see in 11 and 12. And some people stay out there, but most of us come back to 10 because it's like just like synchronizing with cars on the highway. It's more efficient to do the speeds around you than to have some absolute speed. Okay, so there was just a paper I found that showed great support for this idea of recognizing that the alpha rhythm is our sensory sampling rate, how often we sample the world. So here's an example talking about frames in a movie where they flashed a movie here, top right, where they flashed a strobe at 11 hertz, and someone who has 11 hertz sees two flashes, and someone 9.5 only saw one. So interesting illusion. But it shows we're out there sampling, and that's why we want to be near the 10 hertz range. So that's the middle, 10 and a quarter is the middle of what most people do, most adults. And they've known about this since the 40s, and there's other Skype studies. Okay, and so what's the problem with sampling the world differently than other people? Well, you get different stories. So let's say here's 10 segments of a story to represent like 10 hertz, this over the entire night. And you see this is about insomnia. Well, someone's sampling half that rate, maybe look at a little insomnia, but looks like slept a lot around. This person undersampled, got the insomnia part, didn't get sort of the details, and this one thought a completely different story. So that difference, you're perceiving what you think is the same sensory information. You are getting the same sensory, but you're getting different perception because of your sampling rate. So you want to be at sampling rates attuned, so you both communicate with less friction, smoother. Okay, so really only have two parameters, activity and connectivity. This is, and this one we just do, the reason why there's a third thing down here that we just take and make, that's raw data, and we make it normative. And we're gonna be talking about how the hertz reflect the years in terms of challenges going on in those years. And pink is excess and blue is deficit separation from the group. Green is what we want. That's coming up. And actually when it's orange as well. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about here is how each year, the season goes by, or some other rhythm that's telling us the year has gone by. And the brain is trying to synchronize with this heart rhythm and what it's seeing outside. And it starts saying, okay, it starts picking up speed. It picks up speed, and really on average picks up about 1 cycle per heartbeat. The peaks are kind of different. In fact, this peaks are going, they jump out fast. So the peak is our sampling rate, but the average processing is about 1 hertz per year. The peaks jump out to about 5 hertz, 6 hertz very quickly, and then do about half, or really about 0.4 hertz per year. Okay. All right, here's an example of some data. This is 3-year-olds. You can see this kids already have this peak here. The one issue is, too, is peak noise is a sign of being taken care of, being safe. And so you don't really see peak noise in most creatures. It's like it shows the person is safe in some respect. And so sometimes you see premature alpha activity or development in very young, like this person, these two, I should say. And that can be a sign of precociousness. That's because they're like a foster kid. These are foster or adoptees. They had to take care of themselves. So it wouldn't be unusual to see peak noise all the way through, or in very much slower peaks in healthier kids. Okay, but you won't probably have a few unhealthier kids, and most of them don't. Yeah, here's some 4-year-olds. And it's so interesting. You see the variety going on in terms of peak. Look down here. This is where we make decisions. This is where we, the singlets, where make also about decisions, but it's about the value of things. Orbitals governing appetites. Here's like planning, motor, and body representation, and words, and music, and nature, and emotional tones, and facts, and events, and like language and attention. Yeah, this is a language side, attention, and the other side is a 3-dimensional space. And then processing of visual information, familiar things, and novel. Okay, so that's what's going on here. We want to get alpha peak. You can see H4. We are seeing a variety right there. And the C5, same thing. You start seeing peaks in the front coming in. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And there's a harmonic in there. That's when someone has a time to the peak, but they ascribe agency too much to outside individual, someone else besides themselves. And they all have peaks down here. And they like to demote themselves, at least in decision making and governing and planning. Okay, now look at here we go with the peak. Now we're looking at that age, trying to find out age function. Here's the years. And the healthy kids are red, and the blue is autism spectrum. This is a paper. And we see this age function here. You can see how messy it is. How messy. The easiest is back here. You do the occipital peaks for what's the sample rate here. And it's still pretty messy. This is an example. But there's a rate. It does increase. It's about 0.4 hertz per year. Like you use 6 plus 4 times the age will get you what this should be. So here's a depiction from this individual team. And you see that we get up to 6 very quickly. But it takes time to get up to 10 and a quarter, about 0.4 hertz a year. Okay, and this is actually from occipital data from 50 healthy kids, and it's reasonably good. That one actually works. There's a lot of variance around this, but it worked together with shows you that it's a reasonable age progression. And we see this is another data set or similar data set, and this has been smooth. And then sometimes there's this increase of 0.4 per hertz per year past the age. So, or past, I should say, 10 and a quarter, up to like here at age 11, 10 and a half, even maybe 11. And then this is the point where you were a single individual, and then puberty hits, and you're cut in half to half. And he has a response in this specific group of data. And then I think most of us stay on 10 because we have all this feedback. It's the social speed that most people are at. 10-year-old mind, I guess. Okay. And here's you can see it goes faster in some kids when they hit, this 11 years, 12, some go faster, and you can get up there. But there's no so few people